Madagascar does not feel like a place that belongs to the rest of the world. It feels separate, distinct, a little mysterious, the kind of place that seems to have followed its own path for a very long time. And the moment you arrive, you understand that this is not just another island with beaches and wildlife. It is a world of its own. There are places that impress you with size, others with beauty. Madagascar does both, but what stays with you is something harder to explain. It is the feeling that nature here chose to be different. And in a way, that difference is exactly what makes it unforgettable. There is a certain silence in Madagascar that is hard to forget. Not emptiness, not stillness in a lifeless sense. It is the kind of silence that feels alive, full of hidden movement. The sound of wind in the trees, birds calling from somewhere you can't see. The soft crunch of red earth under your feet. The slow passing of clouds over land that seems older than memory. Madagascar does not reveal itself quickly. It asks you to slow down, to notice, to listen. And once you do, it starts opening up in pieces. A road turning red with dust. A lemur suddenly appearing in the branches. A giant baobab standing alone against the sky. A village waking up with the morning light. That is the magic of this island. It does not perform for you. It simply exists, and in doing so, it becomes extraordinary. Madagascar is often described as an island. But that word almost feels too small. Inside it, there are forests, mountains, canyons, coastlines, rice fields, dry plains, rivers, and roads that stretch far into places where the land seems to go on forever. Travel here often feels like moving through several countries at once. The landscape can change so suddenly that it catches you off guard. One moment you are in dry, open country. A few hours later, you are surrounded by dense green forest. Then the road climbs, bends, and opens onto a valley or coastline that looks completely different again. It is a place that keeps surprising you, and maybe that is why it leaves such a strong impression. Madagascar never feels flat, never ordinary, never predictable. If there is one image that captures the spirit of Madagascar, it is the baobab. These trees are impossible to ignore. They stand like giants, thick and ancient. With trunks so wide they seem almost unreal. Their branches stretch upward in a way that feels reversed, as if the tree grew upside down and decided to stay that way. In western Madagascar, the Avenue of the Baobabs is one of the island's most iconic sights. But no photograph quite prepares you for standing there in person. The light at sunset turns everything soft and golden. The trees become silhouettes, the sky burns behind them, and for a moment, the whole world feels still. What makes baobabs so striking is not only their shape, but their presence. They feel patient. They feel old. They feel like witnesses to a world that has changed around them while they remained rooted in place. There is something deeply humbling about that. And then there are the lemurs. Few animals are as closely connected to a place as lemurs are to Madagascar. They are not just wildlife here. They are part of the identity of the island. Seeing them in the wild is one of the quiet joys of traveling in Madagascar. They move quickly, jump effortlessly, and pause with expressions that almost seem human. Some are playful, some shy, some curious, some bold. Each one adds a different kind of energy to the forest. But lemurs are also fragile. Many species exist nowhere else on Earth. That changes the way you look at them. You do not just see a lemur anymore. You see something rare, something that belongs to this island and nowhere else. Something that reminds you how much uniqueness can exist in one place and how easily it can be lost. There is delight in watching them, yes, but there is also responsibility in knowing they are part of a living world that needs protection. Madagascar's forests feel ancient. They are dense, layered, and full of quiet life. Sunlight filters through the leaves in narrow beams. Vines hang across branches. The ground is tangled with roots and fallen wood. Every step feels like entering deeper into a story that was already happening long before you arrived. Some forests feel welcoming, others feel mysterious. Madagascar's forests feel both. They can be soft in the morning light and almost enchanted in the mist. They can also feel serious, full of shadows and hidden movement. That balance between beauty and mystery is part of what makes them unforgettable. But there is also something fragile about them. These forests, like much of the island's natural world, are under pressure. Deforestation, habitat loss, and environmental strain all leave their mark. And when you walk through these places, you feel that tension between wonder and worry. That makes the experience more meaningful, because it is not just about admiring nature. It is about realizing how much of it needs to be held on to. One of the best ways to understand Madagascar is simply to travel through it slowly. The roads are often rough, and the journey can take far longer than expected. But in Madagascar, the road itself becomes part of the story. You pass through small towns, roadside markets, rice paddies, and villages where daily life unfolds with a rhythm that feels steady and real. Children wave as vehicles pass. People walk long distances carrying baskets, tools, or produce. Stalls appear by the road with fruit, snacks, or handmade goods. And in between all that movement, the land stretches wide and open, reminding you how much of Madagascar still feels lived in rather than performed. These are the moments that matter, not just the famous locations, but the in-between places, the pause between destinations, the everyday scenes that tell you what life here actually feels like. Madagascar is beautiful, yes, but it is also real, and that reality gives it depth. Then the island opens to the sea, and everything changes again. The coast of Madagascar has a different kind of beauty, softer in some places, wild in others. Quiet fishing villages sit close to wide beaches. Waves roll in with a steady rhythm. The air carries salt and sun and distance. There are stretches of shore that feel almost untouched, where the only sound is the ocean and the wind. And there are coastal towns where life moves with the tide, shaped by fishing, trade, and the sea's daily moods. The water around Madagascar is not just scenery. It is part of life. It feeds families, supports communities, and connects the island to the wider Indian Ocean world. The coast has its own character, one that feels patient and enduring. And when the sun begins to lower over the water, the whole shoreline seems to soften. That is when Madagascar becomes especially moving. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly beautiful in a way that stays with you.